Welcome everybody to another wonderful, entertaining, edutainng edition of We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist, and we got a great one for you, family. Great one. It's not chestnuts roasting over a open fire, but it's getting to be that holiday season. But right now, it's feeling like summertime out in Memphis, Tennessee. I actually was getting over a cold last week, but now it's like trying to bring back the shorts out. I don't know what's going on with the weather. It's very disturbing. The weather seems to be very bipolar. But anyway, we got a great show. We got Judge Joe Brown on the dais, about to break it down, make it plain, get down with Judge Joe Brown. He about to show you around the town and tell you like how it really TI is. Thank you all. But before we get started, let me read this disclaimer. I gotta read my disclaimer. The views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. So with that said, we're going to bring on the one and only Joseph Joe Brown. Somebody talking about some James. I don't know what that's about, but I know him as the one and only, the most honorable Judge Joe Brown. How you doing today or tonight, rather, sir?
Fine. Yeah, Judge Joe Brown is both my SAG-AFTRA performing name and an official title bestowed upon me upon election to my second 8-year term as a state judge for this sovereign state of Tennessee. That James stuff came up by a jerk face, Dean or something.
Dane Calloway. We're gonna get into it.
Oh, that idiot. He's trying to get some notoriety because he's a zero. He's been busted for plagiarism. He's got a con he's running, telling people that if they send him money, he'll get them free land because they are the original Indians, meaning that some space aliens brought Africans over to the North and South American continent 250,000 years ago in spaceships, and that there was no Middle Passage, no slave trade, no slave ships, because the whites and the Indians invaded North America and enslaved all of the indigenous blacks who were already here. A psychologist friend of mine tells me that just reeks of self-hate, low self-esteem, and a number of other mental health issues that you have to create mythology to explain yourself because you cannot handle your actual history. Be that as it may, frankly, from a conversation I had with him that I have to confess I cussed in because I decided, hey, might as well run some dozens on a fool. I haven't done it since high school.
Mm-hmm.
But he sounds just like one of these police informants or agent provocateurs back in the 60s. And I think he's going to get a lot of people in trouble because they're spinoffs from the idiots who are talking about they don't have to pay taxes, submit to courts because they're sovereign entities. And he's calling Native Americans fraud. And by family ancestry, I'm insulted by that. And I know a whole lot of black folk with Native American ancestors. So, I mean, what gives? He says we ought to be ashamed for using the white man's terms, black or African American, to describe ourselves. And the last I recall from the 60s, it was black people in the mid 60s who decided to be called black people. Black power. I'm black and I'm proud. Yo. So I don't know where he gets that. He likes to use the term more. Nothing wrong with that, except I do recall having read Othello, which is one of the Shakespearean plays from more than 500 years ago, where the conductatore, Othello, the Italian mercenary general, was described as a Moor. So that's
Mm-hmm.
been around for about 1,200 years, 1,400 years, that terminology. So where are you going? Aboriginal certainly isn't exactly an African term either. It's just dangerous for black folk to be diverted into hustles where they're already mixing up the Kool-Aid to serve, Jim Jones style.
Mm.
But it is what it is. So he keeps trying to provoke something. He's even threatened to have some of his followers come to Memphis and put a move on me, but he doesn't know me,
Right.
never heard of me. So I don't know. I looked at him and he's got the worst looking teeth that you have ever seen. Looks like they're rotten. And then he wanted to boast to me that he was typical Native American, not meaning the Amarins, or what we used to call Indians, but whatever he says the aliens brought over 250,000 years ago, and he uses tobacco. I said, "You
Okay.
smoke?" He said, "No, I chew tobacco." Well, that's why he's got such foul teeth. And to me, anybody that chews tobacco is, I mean, great great grandparents aside, is pretty nasty.
Mm.
So it is what it is. He ought to be careful. Somebody might tell him how really stupid he is and how he sounds like he is an uneducated bumpkin. And I know he certainly can't spell and doesn't know how to use the English language, so he's not very educated. He's been busted twice for plagiarism. And he tries to parasitize other folk to get him some play. So he's got a habit of going in and cutting up people's YouTube broadcast and then rebroadcasting it on either his own YouTube stuff or friendly YouTube stuff, and makes people sound bad. But he's one of these dang enemies of the people. So just word up. He sounds like he is a police informant or an FBI informant. Beware. You'll get yourself put in jail, particularly if you go along with the tax scams that they keep talking about. That's not very healthy. Anyway, is
Well,
what it is. So, young brother, what do you want to talk about today?
yeah, I mean, I heard the debate with you and Dane. It was really a debate. It was like a setup. It sounded like the Sister Bethany show. Like she set
Yeah,
you up, or he didn't even properly introduce himself to you. Right? You asked who this guy was, right?
it said, "Who in the devil are you? You don't
Yeah.
know who I am?" I said, "No, never heard of you, never seen you before." So I had to look him up. He seems to have an ego problem, like he's all this and that, but
Well, my
he
problem with
hasn't done anything.
Well, Judge, my problem with it is the fact that if that was the first time I ever heard of Dane Calloway and to see him in action, I would have been turned off. Cause I've been knowing of him for the last several years. I'm not a follower, but I'm very much aware of him. He's very popular in the black YouTube or social media platforms. But my problem is the way he came off. He didn't really try to articulate his point of view. He made terroristic threats to you. I thought it was just out of pocket. It was the wrong way to go. If it was the first time I ever saw or heard of him, it was a bad impression.
Yeah, and see, the only reason I had something bad to say about him is the real Dana has a show on Thursday. I was on there, and
Mm-hmm.
he went in and he tried to ambush the both of us, and he started cussing at her and acting real nasty. Dana's a grandmother, has her own business, and I just said, "Oh no, you don't talk to a woman like that, fool."
Okay, so he actually came on y'all show in the chats, huh?
Yeah, so he trolls people, and then you know what the fool did?
What you do?
He reported us to Twitter
Really?
for being insensitive to him. How punk is that, man?
That's fascinating. I didn't. Wow. You said he was the police, right?
Yes.
I'm joking. But yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I
Wait,
think he
wait.
is. See, I I'm a member of UCLA's class of 1969, and we had a lot of police informants and agents provocateur.
Yes, sir.
The FBI and other alphabet agencies put up, and we knew how they sounded, and he sounds just like it. He's trying to tell people to violate the law, and he's not able to back them up, and it achieves nothing except he's got a hustle where he wants you to send him money. He probably needs to get his teeth fixed.
Well, you say he on the level. Could he be possibly like a Malanga Karenga or something like that? Malanga
He's
Karenga,
not a
Ron
Ron
Karenga.
Karenga. Ron Karenga had a PhD. I don't know if this guy has a high school diploma.
Okay, but this is
But
why.
anyway,
Okay, but Judge, let me say this. I keep on thinking, and I saw some of his videos, and they're very well made. The way it's very well produced for the most part. I'll give him props for that. But my thing is, I never heard of him actually making claims about being ancient aliens. I heard young Pharaoh make those type of claims, but you say he got videos out there talking about we came from
yeah,
aliens.
where do you think these followers of his got those ideas?
Okay, I'm not
And
aware,
how do
but
you think
y'all
the
can
black
send
people
me that
got
information.
over here? He never offers an explanation. I kept asking him, how did they get here? And he was talking about the white people. He said the white people didn't even get over here until the early 19th century by steamboat. So I guess that just shot the American Revolution out of the window. So he was talking about all they had was sailboats and rowboats.
Okay,
So I
well,
mean, it was amusing, but you know what? It sounded like these left-wing white cranks that you hear sometimes on cable, where they're talking about the aliens built the pyramids and the alien
I mean that's the History
encounters. You
Channel.
know,
That's the propaganda channel, right? That's the History
yeah.
Channel. But
So
I never heard that. I heard young Pharaoh say stuff. I never
yeah,
heard
well,
they
he
actually say
said
that.
that. You know,
Okay.
the other thing was is he started talking about the Masons were fraud and Illuminati and
Mm-hmm.
enemies of the black people, and you know, I'm Masonic, I'm not gonna die, and I'm a Shriner. And he kept telling me to stand up. He wanted to see my shirt. And then somebody said on another show afterwards, he was talking about I was wired to record it. I'm going, what kind of damn fool thinks you got to be wired to record somebody coming in like that? I could have just picked up my cell phone and done it. Other thing is he kept saying, why you have on that blue shirt? I said, what blue shirt? Is black. The
Mm-hmm.
blue one, it's not blue, it's black. I said, man, you colorblind. That he wanted to claim it was some kind of police thing. I said, me? I said, I said, you sound like it, but not me. And he never answered questions I asked him. He kept trying to go somewhere else. But what I would like to say, rather than talk about this other than beware it's a con game and don't hate yourself so much that you can't handle your own historical reality. Black people did get brought over on slave ships. It was horrible, and any damn fool that can't see how they would have brought them over and talks nonsense about they would have had to suffocate doesn't get it, because a lot of them did. And those ships were not airtight. They were wooden sailing ships. They had people in holes. I told them to go check with the records of the United States Navy and the Royal Navy, and also Lloyd's of London had insurance registers where they had to pay out on some of the slave ships that were intercepted and confiscated by the Royal Navy. So that's an easy enough way to check. I also directed him to some of the records in, say, New York, where that movie, the Amistad incident, came out of, where there was a ship that called the Amistad where slaves overpowered the crew and sailed into New York Harbor. So it is what it is. That being the case, a fool can go look it up, but a fool doesn't sit there and deal with poison. We don't need to go adopt the flat earth philosophy and start waiting for another Jim Jones to get some more of our people to drink the Kool-Aid. But that aside, he seemed to have a problem with man up, and he's been posting nonsense all over the place about, I'm trying to say, associate the elders with man up and Bantu costumes. And I don't know where he got that.
It just
Bantu costumes, but yeah, some of the elders do a man up thing. I no problem with that.
well, my thing is just the way he came across in the so-called debate. It was just like it made him look real bad. Regardless of what your point of view is, you got receipts, Judge. I probably what our people is we don't really respect folks who actually did work. You put in frontline work. You put your life on the line for certain principles. You actually was a history maker, and our people don't recognize our folks sometimes and give them their fair due. It's like with Jesse Jackson. People want to shortchange Jesse. Yeah, there's some issues with Jesse, but Jesse did a lot of good things for black people. But we don't come with the receipts. We don't do the right research, Judge. You have done a lot for our people regardless of your point of view on certain things, he should have gave you the respect to answer you back in a certain way.
Oh
Respect
yeah,
goes both
but
ways.
he always comes at people like that. It's bombastic, you know.
I mean,
Like I'm
it
gonna
don't serve him well, Judge.
shout you down. Like, no, man, you don't do that. You're dealing with a man. And when he started talking about he's gonna find me in Memphis, I said,
That
I'm
was
easy
bad
enough
taste.
to find, but I don't suggest you do it.
I mean, this is bad. That was poor taste. Everything like about that, it was not. You know what the problem with our people is that we got that Jim Jones mentality. A lot of Jim Jones followers were black people who was looking to be a part of something bigger than themselves, who had low self-esteem, I guess, allegedly. But a lot of our people get into these cults of personalities online. I think that's very dangerous. You don't follow the mailman around. You go to your mailbox and get the mail that's meant for you. Stop worshiping the mailman. The mailman could be a crackhead.
We used to
Get the
call
mail
them
out the mailbox and keep it moving.
we call them pimps and simps. They were pimping the movement, hustling the revolution, pimping the revolution, hustling the movement back in the 60s. History repeats, and we're getting more of the same kind of people out there who are not doing us any good. There's no easy way. You know that. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I associate with knows that. We worked hard to get where we're getting.
Right.
And there are some people who preach this, what is it, get rich quick thing. In other words, follow me and give me the money and I'll make it happen for you. No, they're just lying. It's a hustle. Like I said,
I
you
didn't know
really
about
ought
the
to get.
land. He had a land grab scheme. I don't know about. I don't follow him like that. I don't follow a lot of these cats like that. But you
Well,
said he had a land grab scheme
yeah,
going on,
see
right?
what the scam is we are supposed to be the original aboriginals in North America, and the Indians, so-called Indians, are frauds. They came in with the white man. So we are the ones that are entitled to all of the treaties and all of the land since we owned it, not as descendants of Native Americans, as so many of us are, but as Africans who got brought here 250,000 years ago, that his followers claim was by aliens with spaceships. And he doesn't talk about how we got here if you confront him.
But Judge is a professor, an ancestor now, ancestor named Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. He wrote a book called "They Came Before Columbus." They talk about the African presence throughout the whole world. Black folks been everywhere. We are the original people.
Yeah.
We're everywhere. Our presence has been everywhere around the globe. It's been documented.
Yeah,
But
well,
in a
I
lot of
mean,
cases, it's been hidden.
everybody is descended from people that came up out of Africa
Right. That's how the
or
narrative goes.
remained. The only problem is that 250,000 years ago, North America was locked in a massive glacier. It was in the middle of an ice age, a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't happening. Africans didn't leave Africa and get brought directly to North America. There was anatomically modern humans from anthropology, DNA, and archaeology appear to have come along about 250,000 years ago. About 95,000 years ago, some few came out of Africa, and everybody who is not a recent African is descended from that few.
Okay.
Some people also have some Denisovian and Neanderthal ancestry, about 2.5 to 4.5%, depending upon who you are. So there is that. Now, that's just science, and that can be proven. Anybody with a lab and the equipment to replicate the experiments can conduct the experiments and get the same answers, but that seems to be inconvenient. So, yes, there is the factoid that occasionally somebody from Phoenicia, Western Africa, or somewhere else might have been blown off course during a storm and wound up washed up on the shore in the Americas. Usually there are some currents that wound up just south of Brazil or just north of Brazil on the west coast, east coast of South America. You might also wind up in Central America as well. Now, if somebody came from the far north, they could do what the Vikings did, or what one potential wave that came out of Europe did. way, way back when, during an ice age, when there were just a few miles worth of gaps between the ice sheets separating North America and Europe. That could have happened, no telling. However, modern Africans being brought over here a quarter of a million years ago did not happen.
Thank you for Carlton Richard for the donation. We love you, Maddie. I mean, let's say this though. I remember I don't know if you saw that cowboy flick, the Black Cowboy movie, The Harder They Fall on Netflix. And folks was complaining about the fact they used historical people names, but the narrative was wrong. It was like the casting wasn't correct. You know, with Idris Elba, he played the outlaw Rufus Buck. Rufus Buck was about 21 years old when he was hanged by Judge Isaac Parker, the hanging judge in Fort Smith, Arkansas. He around 21 or 20, and Eldridge is about Idris, whatever his name is, about 49 or 50. But here's the thing: one of the greatest gangster movies of all time, produced by Hollywood, was The Untouchables. It was so historically inaccurate; it was a sham, but it was highly entertaining. Black folks still want to get their history from Hollywood. And if you read about our real story, Rufus Buck, I'm gonna tell you about Rufus Buck. Rufus Buck was a Native American and a black man, but he was fighting against the white folks to reclaim the Native American land and to protect the black free land towns, free towns.
And the other thing,
we need to tell about that story.
The other thing too is, how did he get put in jail for hanging Judge Parker to hang him?
Right? How did Judge? You know that story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isaiah Washington plays the character in a series he's doing, is taping.
Okay.
It's a black man who operated as a marshal under that judge's auspices in
Bass
Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
He got into the Indian Territory. There really was a Tonto, but there were three of them, since he had to have somebody accompany him in the Indian territories.
Right.
And he was a master of disguise. He put almost 3,000 some people over the years in the nearest federal penitentiary, which was up in Ohio. Mm-hmm. So back in the 1920s, when they first started having radio, some of the people who were directors and producers at this radio station used to hang out at a speakeasy right down the street from a federal prison. And these guards used to tell him about all of these inmates they had that this black marshal put in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to dramatize the black marshal, but make him white and make him the Lone Ranger.
Right. That's the great Bass Reeves.
That's exactly it.
Look. If Wyatt Earp is Mickey Mantle, then Bass Reeves is Willie Mays, and I love Willie Mays over Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, he holds a record for the most apprehended felons who were successfully prosecuted in American history.
Yes, sir.
No other cop came anywhere close.
But Judge, I'm just curious about these guys that talk about our we Native Americans. Some of these cats, they highly upset with you. What is that why you stir them up so?
Guys get highly emotional. They jumped me because they didn't like me having a market or audience where I was talking about African American and black and things we needed to do, and they claimed it all was a lie because they had been here all this time. Now, I can't help it if they're doing the equivalent of the National German Socialist Workers' Party, aka the Nazis, and they have to have a mythological Aryan Superman set of ancestors who came from the far north and were blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Mm-hmm. Actually, what an Aryan looks like is Kamala Harris. She's an Indo-Aryan, and Aryans come from India. So they're swarthy and dark-haired, not fair-skinned and blonde, and don't have blue eyes. They've got dark eyes. Well, that's just the way it is. You upset somebody whose perception of reality is based on BS, a lie, you're a problem. And I have ancestral Choctaw in the family, so I'm not going to diss them. I'm proud of that side of the family that's got that in them. So I'm not going to sit here and tolerate somebody bad mouthing one side of the family. He can go to hell and take all of them can go to hell and take that myth. I mean, it's time to come out the closet of ignorance and anything else you hiding in that closet and get real. We have some negative things in our history. Hell, everybody does. So it's time to deal with them, get motivated by them, and move on. That's
Yeah.
why I do the man up thing. They don't like that man up thing either.
Hmm. And also, y'all be mindful and respectful in the chats, man. I know some people, y'all, come on, let's make it about the issues, not about personal attacks. I think we need to mature and
If
elevate our
somebody
way of
wants to
thinking.
attack me, look, let them go ahead, because I have actually done something for black people, been out on the line, gone neighborhood patrols while armed out in the 1960s to keep the peace out there, to keep the police from jacking black folk up. And these little punks have been running around trying to go for bad, having fantasies from watching Hollywood too much.
But
See,
my thing
I've
about
gotten people out
Judge,
of jail, set rules, done the civil rights stuff, been on the front lines, and so have a lot of other people they want to badmouth. And they haven't done anything except creep out and act ignorant and try to come up with some fantasies. Now, get real, move into the 21st century, start pushing your people to get educated so they can do something and they don't have to worry about who's going to give them something.
well, Judge, my problem, like you say that, I got you much respect. These cats, I don't know this they got a certain type, but they always say, when they gonna pass me the torch, when they gonna give it to me. I never seen people that disrespect folks so much that they ask them, please, can you give me the torch? I remember Julian Bond 20-something years ago when I was in college. I spoke with Julian Bond. I asked Julian Bond how were they able to get the power to get what they need to do. He told me, man, we just took it from them. We didn't ask them, we just took.
That's
You
what you
take
have to
it, you
do.
challenge them for it. Like in gangster movies, they don't ask the boss. They double cross the boss sometimes, but you got to have the cojones to be willing to do what it takes to obtain the power. Well, I'm gonna give you something that you're not willing to work for or sacrifice for. What type of fool am I to give a weak ass something they didn't earn
Well,
or
that's
try?
right, Brother Hurd. It's like, I'm not giving you a damn thing. You better be ready to take it unless I trained
Yeah,
you or mentored you, and then I might pass the torch. An
right.
ignorant fool coming up with flim flam like this trying to get an economic hustle together needs to be in jail, not leading anything because they're too stupid to lead it. See, sometimes it's a question of not whether you're dealing with a fool, but how big a fool can a fool be?
Hey, Judge, can you put your car light on? People want to see your pretty, handsome face.
Well, let me do that briefly. I got to get out of here. I said I only had half hour.
Uh-huh.
So let's see. Here we go again. This is the judge. This is hombre, and I'm not as good as I used to be, but most of the time I'm better than I ever was. Now, hi, bye, and got to go. This has been Joe. I got to get off the show. And by the way, if you want to deal with some black entrepreneurial thing, go online and go to www.jjbbbq .com. JJBBBQ.com. It's a good barbecue product. It'll probably be the best you ever bought. Maybe your granddad used to be able to fix better, but you're not going to buy anything better. Now, I'm out of here, and I got on my Native American stuff, my buckskin jacket with the fringes that was bought on a reservation.
Yes, sir.
So I got to go, brother.
They got, but how you doing for health wise? How your health
I'm
doing?
great. I'm fully recovered, going to the gym, going out and jogging a bit. I'll be in good shape. Now, I got to go, and my date for the evening is telling me to come on. We got to go on in for a dinner date. We're in here at Ruth Chris. So,
All right, yo, you mosey on down, get your steak on, Judge. We love you,
yeah.
madly. Thank you so much.
And think about doing what you got to do so you're not too broke to buy one.
Yeah, I know that's right.
All right, I'm out of here.
Thank you. Peace out. And like I said, we are more than happy to have Dane Calloway come on this platform and have a civil conversation about what's happening, what's going on, get some points of views, because I think that show that Judge did with Dane did him a disservice in terms of, I mean, he conducted himself a certain way that was disappointing. If I didn't know of some of the work he has done, and we all can agree to disagree and yet still be agreeable about the whole process. I think there's a better way to do a lot of different things. Let me see. The screen is freezing up on me, so I'll be right back, everybody, to close it out.
Hey. I don't like some of these lip ones here. They want to wear.
So I'm back, I guess. I think Judge is off. Screens are interesting. Remove this one. I think y'all can hear me fine. I don't know if I got feedback or reverberation or whatever. Let me do something. I end broadcast, but just kick myself out. Okay, I'm back. We're gonna close. We're not gonna be on that long, but I just wanted to get Judge Joe Brown to have his point of view heard. I think we do ourselves a disservice as Black people when we don't give ourselves the space to say and make it plain. Judge is deserving of the respect, regardless of what you may think about his point of views. A lot of y'all kind of weird. If Judge do something for his own so-called self-preservation, if he got his own perspective on his worldview, y'all think it destroys and disqualifies your worldview. Y'all kind of like very infantile. We got to grow up, because I think a lot, it's a certain type of character that I've been noticing. They got a problem with Judge. A lot of these folks, they got this claim about Native Americans, Aboriginals. I don't give a care what you stand on if you're not willing to fight and down it. If you're not willing to fight and down principle on your claims, then ain't no point in you stating your claims. Because a lot of y'all have a cowardice about yourselves that is really deplorable. And like how, man, I dealt with Dick Gregory for 6 damn years. This fool used to curse me out and everything. And I still gave him the man of respect because I know his receipts. He's been traumatized. Dick Gregory was a human being that been through hell. He got traumatized. He got his ass beat. He got a lot of things that happened to him. He lost a lot of money, went broke a lot of times. But he loved his people. He served with the best of his abilities. So he become an older man. He see now. He dealing with a lot of stuff, health issues. So y'all thought it was weak of me to allow this dude to curse me out. But I had respect for the brother. And he respect. And I did things for Dick. And y'all never know. I actually stepped in and saved his life one time. And I'll save that story for another day for my book. But there's neither. I still gave the elder his respect. It's like with Judge Joe Brown. Y'all want to clown Judge, but a lot of y'all haven't done anything but just talk tough on social media. Judge Joe Brown has done things, put his life on the line for things. December 8th will mark the anniversary of the U.S. Civil Court that the government, elements of the U.S. government, was found guilty or complicit in the assassination of Dr. King. Judge Joe Brown did a profiles and courage to make that happen. He contributed to us exposing the truth about what happened to Dr. King. Y'all still blaming Jesse when it's the government y'all pay income tax to. They did your heroes in. Y'all want to blame anybody but the government, but the white man. See, the problem with Black people is y'all too in love with white people. Y'all not in tune with yourselves. You're not in love with yourself. All our problems come with the fact that you put white folks above your own salvation, above your own self-preservation. Y'all want white friends at all costs. Y'all rather have white friends than a Black family intact. Therein lies your problem. Judge Joe Brown is my brother. He's my elder. He's my brother. Y'all care about being Masons and Illuminati. See, a lot of y'all love intellectual masturbation and intellectual diarrhea. What's the point of knowing all this bullshit if you can't do nothing with it? What's the point of knowing information if you can't use the information or make your life better? Y'all allow the entities and powers to be to define your reality. Y'all too busy reacting instead of being proactive. Y'all too busy want to do street fighting and brawling. See, what's going on in black social media is a royale, it's a nigga royale. If you think about, if you read the opening of Ralph Ellison's masterpiece, The Invisible Man, it opens up with a royale. A battle royale opens, and you know what a royale is? That's how Jack Johnson became the king of the heavyweights. He was the Galveston Giant. He used to fight them battle royales. Y'all think about royales, y'all think about wrestling. I'm talking about boxing, where they have all these black men and black boys blindfolded in a ring. Last man standing get all the white man's trinkets on the ground. If you the last nigga standing, you get all the trinkets on the ground. They dramatized this in James Brown's biopic, Get On Up. They showed a royale, the battle royale. See, y'all don't know the history of nothing, but y'all always talking about, well, you know, slave ships. Y'all still slaves. I ain't worried about no slave ship. It's your mind. You got the slave mentality. Because it don't make a difference what you call yourself as long as you're willing to fight and die for it. Cassius Clay fought to be called Muhammad Ali. He beat people into submission to recognize him Muhammad Ali. Y'all get caught up, don't call me Negro, call me black. Negro is black, Negro. Negro is black in Spanish. Y'all a bunch of confusing fools. Y'all want to pick fights with elders. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just all type of low self-esteem. Manhood, all erectile dysfunction. See, it ain't about, look, I met Jesse Jackson several times. I have no problem with Jesse. I know the government killed Dr. King. Dr. King knew that the government was going to kill him. Malcolm knew that the government killed him. Y'all keep on to blame other black people, and y'all, this their system. I can understand if you could blame a black person. Elijah Muhammad did not have the power to deny Malcolm entrance into France. He didn't have that type of power. Elijah Muhammad was getting checks from the government too. Yeah, I said it. Malcolm found out about it. Read the Judas Factor from Carl Evans. Man, he was getting big checks from A.L.L Hunt, the rich cracker from Texas whose son, Lamar Hunt, founded the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, y'all beloved Kansas City Chiefs. Used to be known as the Dallas Texans. Look up that movie Executive Action, starring Burt Lancaster as the H.L. Hunt inspired character. See, all these people are in cahoots. They use black pain for their gain and profit. And yet y'all want to be worried about what Judge Joe Brown does as far as his personal medical practices is concerned. Man, get a life. It's ridiculous. I don't follow these people, man. Y'all got a Jim Jones mentality where y'all need somebody to tell y'all what to do, including what time to drink the Kool-Aid. Y'all be telling me, well, so-and-so said it. I don't follow these dudes, man. I have no problem with these cats, but black folks, y'all love making the mailman the Messiah. Y'all love making the mailman the Messiah. Y'all could do your own research, have your own mind. Forget critical race theory. Do some critical race thinking. Learn how to think. Stop looking for some Dick Gregory character or some Malcolm character, Martin Mega, Dane Calloway, or Judge Joe Brown to tell you what to do. I be having grown Negro. These dudes be in their 70s. I got to listen to Judge Joe Brown. He tell me what to do. Negro, you have raised families. You got grandkids and great-grands. If you don't know how to be a man at 70, Judge can't help you. He can't help you. If you don't know what it is to be a man at 70, Judge Joe Brown can't help you. It's like these young guns. I know it's a certain type. They all into the Native American stuff. Don't Native Americans respect their elders? Is that the tradition of the natives to respect their elders in their tribe? Y'all so disrespectful and so emasculated. I ain't gonna call their names. They know who they are. They always got this thing about it. It's weird. Like I said, I talk to the elders, man. They ain't gonna give you nothing. Why? You look at these gangster movies, you know, the driver double crossed the boss, the underboss double crossed the boss, but they're trained. The boss don't give away power. You got to challenge the boss. You do whatever it takes to attain it. See, our black males are so weakened. They not up for a real fight. They just like to bitch and complain online. Like the bitch and whine and complain. It's just ridiculous. It's just so sad. These Negroes complain, give me the torch. I put it up, yo, you know where. Because you can't protect that either. But that's another story. But what I'm saying is, what I saw, it was horrible. It's like, it looks really bad. You know, that our people are in this situation. Y'all come texting me about some Aboriginal this and Native stuff. Y'all can't fight for nothing. Y'all don't stand on nothing. Y'all hide behind big words and well-produced videos and all this other crap. Y'all talk in circles, a lot of confusion. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. You know, and I be doing stuff in real time. I put on events in the community. I work grassroots leadership. I go into the schools. I don't get paid. I do the paying out. Yeah, the events be free. It costs me thousands of dollars to feed y'all. Dick Gregory said I was the feeder. So he said you must feed your people. And sometimes you lose money feeding black folk. So ungrateful, so disrespectful our people are. But it's all about program and design. But our biggest problem is we love anything but black people. I don't care if you call yourself Aboriginal, Native. You don't love yourself enough to fight for yourself, to stand for something. It's easier to fight black elders and old people. That's low-hanging fruit. But to really deal with this beast, you can't get justice from the devil. Y'all too busy talking about reparations. I think it's a joke. Not that we don't deserve reparations, but you keep on telling the devil, look what you did to me, devil. The devil said, I'm doing my job. That means I got A1 credit. I should have a AAA rating because I'm giving you Negroes hell. Y'all keep on begging the devil for mercy. The devil is not qualified. It's not in the devil's job description to give you mercy. The devil is here to give you hell, to bring pain. You fools don't know nothing. Y'all, look, we about to celebrate everything. We celebrate the 4th of July harder than anybody. You know, it about to be Veterans Day. They came out World War I. Don't you know they was lynching black men in full uniform during World War I and after that? Hanging black men from trees that fought to make the world safe for democracy, but very unsafe for black people. You got the Johnson brothers, one of the most prominent doctor families in America, black families, full of doctors. They were massacred at the Lane Race Massacre back in 1919. One of their brothers was a veteran of World War I. He was a member of what became known as the Harlem Hellfighters, the 369th Regiment, the most decorated regiment from the American Expeditionary Forces led by Black Jack John Pershing. But they were disowned by their own government. There was the New York National 15th Regiment, the New York National Guard 15th. They were disowned by America, adopted by the French. The most decorated unit from America couldn't even wave his own flag on the battlefield, fighting under the French flag. Was under fire longer than any other American force for 191 straight days. They were under fire. Never lost an inch of ground to enemy capture. The first black man to lead troops in the battle in World War I was Lieutenant James Priest Europe, who brought jazz to Europe. So they bring in war, bravery, and culture to the so-called Europe, just like the Moors did centuries earlier. These are our people. We don't know their names. I'm telling y'all all types of stuff. Y'all too busy want to fight old men. I'm telling you history, man. Real history. It's been documented. It's not that long ago. We fought in every war. But you got black men that were being lynched in full uniform. That's the thanks we got. You got Sergeant Henry Johnson. Sergeant Henry Johnson took on about 20 Germans by himself while wounded with a Bowie knife. Something like that. Look it up. Take a look. It's all on. He just got his Medal of Honor. He's been dead for a long time. Never benefits. I think my Wi-Fi going crazy. I hate it. It's too I'll be on the road. Let me see something. I'll be right back. Now they be playing my Wi-Fi. It's like I paid I know my event, the Jimmy Lunch event, I paid paid about $1,300. They still messed up my screen. But anyway, getting back to this. So you got black people that fought in every war. Charles Hamilton Houston was a officer. I think he was a lieutenant during World War One. This was the Jegna of Thurgood Marshall. This was the architect of Brown v. Board. He was almost lynched in full uniform in France because the white women preferred the black men in uniform than those doughboy crackers. They're about to lynch him over some women that love the black men in uniform. This is the father of the Brown v. Board movement. This is Charles Hamilton Houston, the dean of Howard University Law School. So, I mean, this is why it's so important to have. This is why black media matters. Because a lot of black folks don't talk about this type of stuff. I study this stuff. I listen to the elders. But like I saw last week with Dane, and Dane is more than welcome to come on the show. And I will definitely help Judge and Dane do a civilized discussion. See, that sister, she didn't, I don't know Sister Bethany, but that show, it was a train wreck from start to finish. It just made Dane look bad, but maybe that's who he really is. That's his real character. I see your true colors shining through. Because it's things I don't agree with Judge on. It's a couple things. I remember when Judge kept on saying Hubert Humphrey was on the line as a judge. He was an honorary alpha. And Judge said, I met Hubert Humphrey. And I said, when you meet him, Judge? I met him back in 1966. They said he was Big Brother Humphrey. Big Brother. I said, Judge, they made him an honorary alpha back in 65. Judge, I mean, Hubert Humphrey ain't John Brown. John Brown probably was the greatest white friend the black person or black man ever had in this country. He sacrificed his own sons for black folks' freedom. He gave up his life for black folks' freedom. That's the only white man I know that was a real friend of black people with no type of strings attached. Joe Biden had y'all correct. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Because black folks love to vote for folks that disrespect them. And voting is the least important. I'm going to say it a couple of times. Voting is the least important political tool. Voting is the least important political tool. Voting is the least important political tool because it has nothing to do with real issues. It's about popularity and brand recognition. It's not about, because if it was about the issues, Joe Biden would not be president right now. But some people would say he wasn't really elected. And that's another story altogether. So they'll use that against I'm not mad at anybody about who's in the White House because I know the people didn't have the final say. So I'm not going to be mad at my brother and sister. Like a lot of y'all blocked me, unfriended me. People, I mean, my own preacher from my childhood who baptized me blocked me or, he unfriended me on Facebook. I thought that was hilarious because I went to congratulate him on being recognized for his gospel music producing work on NPR. And I saw he unfriended me. Then I read on his Facebook profile, he called everybody who support Trump were not idiots and stuff like that, not a child of God, anything but a child of God. So it's fascinating, man, who baptized me at 12, that's been a part of my family for ever since I've been born that I can recall, will unfriend me on my political viewpoints. Instead of asking me, well, Ron, why you feel this way? See, there's a lot of folks like that. And these are elders and elders and stuff like that. But at the same time, they've been bamboozled and programmed and led astray. These fools didn't know no better because they brought into the system of lies. See, a lot of these boomers, they got their 401ks, their retirement package, their pensions. Me as a black man, I don't have no pension coming, no 401k, none of that stuff. So I'm living by the edge of my seat. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Like I care and look out for my uncles. They in their 60s, but I look at in 20-something years, if I make it the 20-something years, who going to be looking out for me like I look out for these people? And the way people disrespect elders, I don't think there'll be any elders left or elders or whatever. But I can't blame Frankenstein for being Frankenstein. I blame Dr. Frankenstein for producing Frankenstein. So I don't blame the young people for disrespecting the older people. I put that responsibility on older people. Just like I don't hold the schools responsible for teaching black history or so-called black history or who we are. That comes from your family. That comes from a village that does not exist. You learn who you are at home. You don't learn that at school. Y'all keep on thinking school supposed to teach. Y'all kind of worried about the concept of school. School is just there to teach you skills to navigate this system. Teach you reading, writing, and arithmetic and stuff like that. School does not teach you how to be proud of who you are and how to stand up for yourself. That comes from home. And a lot of our kids are rootless and homeless. So that's why we got this dysfunction, this disconnect. But all our problems could be traced to the fact that we love white folks more than we love or like ourselves. Because when y'all deal with politics, it's weird to me. Y'all talking about, does Joe Biden like black people? What they got to do with politics? Does Trump like black people? What they got to do with politics? Law is not about morality. Politics is not about morality. It's about the exercise of power. Y'all want people to like y'all instead of doing right by y'all. See, respect is more important than liking politics in life. Y'all want people to like y'all enough just to let y'all breathe a little bit. Just let me breathe a little bit, boss. Just give me a little inch of crawl space. See, this is the problem with black folks. You don't ask for anything. Y'all vote Democrat automatically, but don't really ask for anything. Y'all keep on saying, well, maybe, just maybe. No, ain't about no maybe. You gonna do what we tell you to do, or you get no support from us. You can't tell me when voting for Democratic voting for any party saved black people or gave black people a leg up. The only time I could think of is the Reconstruction era period, and they played takeaway. They give and they take. See, when your existence depends on other people, then you have no power. You have power, but you don't exercise it for your well-being. Therein lies the power, the problem, excuse me. But now I'm not impressed. I don't follow talking heads. I don't listen to who y'all listen to. A lot of y'all like to listen to these people. Y'all give money and all this other stuff. And y'all say, well, we're so and so. I don't care. They like the mailman. I don't care if my mailman's a crackhead on crystal meth. I don't care if my mailman do crazy shit as long as my mail get delivered. I'm not worried about the mailman. I'm more concerned about receiving my message. Forget about putting the messenger on the pedestal and just study the message that's delivered, analyze, break it down, and take what's good for you. Don't receive, if you get in junk mail, leave the junk mail alone. Get the mail that's going to be very substantive to you and your people. You know, I don't do the cuddle personality BS. Y'all into that Jim Jones. Jim Jones had a large black following for a reason. Because black folks are always looking for some messiah. That's not the messiah. That's the mailman or male person or male lady. I'm not reading the chat right now. I'm just going freestyle. I don't really care about reading. I do what I want to do. I never been popular. I just been tolerated. Never had popularity. Dave Chappelle had popularity and controversy. Cat Williams has popularity and controversy. I just been controversial because I exist. I refuse to go away. I'm a Taurus. Y'all say it's stubbornness. No, it's insistence and being consistent and being persistent. That's what we do. Taurus is manifest stuff. That we make stuff real. Y'all talk about it. We be about it. Malcolm was a Taurus. He made stuff real. Duke Ellington, Ellis Fitzgerald, Charles Mingus, Tauruses. We manifest stuff. We make your dreams a reality. That's what we do. I brought y'all Dick Gregory, Judge Joe Brown, Dr. Randy Short, all this stuff. I've been going to cemeteries for years. Now everybody building huge channels or going to cemeteries. I've been doing it forever. I'm always ahead of my time. And so y'all have to play catch up with me on this, but y'all need to stop worrying about so-and-so sleeping with so-and-so or doing this drug. Just get the message. Follow the paper trail. Research. Stop worrying about if Judge Joe Brown agree with your worldview. Who cares? Have your own worldview. Stop trying to look for validation. Like Baba Dick Gregory would say, my truth does not need to be validated by your ignorance. And what I do, I'm not looking for y'all to validate me. Like I said, I've never been popular. Now I have a following, but I've never really been popular. I just been tolerated. I just went to a function, family reunion type of thing for a wedding anniversary. And one of the people in the audience thought they were being funny. They said, here come bad news. How am bad news? What did I do? Do I terrorize my people? Do I sell poison to my people? What have I done that warranted me to be bad news? And then a sister sat next to me and said, brother, why they call you bad news? I said, because I'm really good. When you in a system run on lies, telling truth is a bad act. To tell the truth in a system built on lies and deception is bad news for the system and the people who profit off that. So I never been popular. I always been tolerated, even by family. And they got the nerves to tolerate me when at the end of the day, I'm doing work that one day a generation or two from now will be proud of. Just like the artwork I do. Can you imagine, people say they love my artwork, they love me. 100 years from now, I have this fine ass woman, big old titties, and a PhD who's an expert on Ron Hurd and artivism. But I can't even enjoy her because I'm dead. But this woman gonna come 100 years from now and really put a shine on my legacy. It's beautiful, like voluptuous, big titty woman with glasses and all this stuff with a PhD. And she did her dissertation on Brother Ron and We All Be. See, I see that day coming, and I don't care if y'all see it. I already saw it. Like Dr. King said, not too far away from where I'm sitting right now. I'm right across the street where they shot Dr. King in the face. I'm right down the street where Dr. King did his last speech. He said, I may not get there with you, but I have seen the promised land. I already seen them titties 100 years from now. I already seen them. I can't help it. They're gonna be having kids getting named after me and stuff. That's okay. But I'm gonna be tolerated. I'll be bad news if it means liberating some black people from their slavery. I'm okay with the bad news title. Thank you so much. Bro Dunn, thank you for the donation. Yeah, but people don't know ownership. It comes at a price. If you really want to own something, you got to put your life on the line. Right before the Civil War, people make fun of Mormons. Don't you know that the Mormons fought the American government just a couple years before the Civil War? They fought the American government and won. That's when president was James Buchanan. He was known as the bachelor president. He was never married in the White House. Some people think he was the first gay president before Obama, allegedly. But the Mormons waged war with the American government out west. That's how they got Utah. Take a look. It's all online. But black folks, we ain't willing to fight for anything but for white folks and for this country. Black folks are willing to fight for America, for the American to have the right to rape their mamas and grandmamas and sisters. That's how messed up we are as a people. We'll fight for a country right to lynch us, to rape our women in our family, even rape the boys and the men in our family. And yet you want to call somebody, y'all like to call what Larry Elder's a coon. Larry Elder just like most of black folks. Y'all love white folks at all costs. But y'all mad because Larry Elder is telling the truth about how black folks really think about white people. Y'all don't hate white people. Well, if y'all do hate white people, it's because hate is a form of love. Y'all want acceptance from white people. Every single last one of y'all not real revolutionaries. Y'all want acceptance from the people that oppress you. Because y'all look at that form of, that's abusive relationship. That's Stockholm syndrome. See, black folks ain't really serious about anything. Because when I do award shows, I'm not doing it for white people. I'm doing it for us. See, I had talked to Bobby Rush. We honored him recently. And Bobby Rush, unfortunately, he couldn't make it to the show in person, but we're going to give him his award when he come back to Memphis. We're going to give it to him. We're going to record the acceptance and all that stuff. But Bobby, when I talked to him on the day of the Lunsford Legacy Awards, he was stuck in Louisiana, did a homecoming tribute to him that weekend. I can understand that. But Bobby said, so how was the ticket sales? I said, there was no ticket sales. I gave it to the people for free. He said, what? I said, you know how you did in your book? Y'all need to read this book. I ain't studying you. He had planned a comeback concert for James Brown. When James Brown got out of prison, I think it was back in the early 90s or something like that. James Brown went to prison. Bobby Rush went to the bank, took out a personal loan to finance a comeback concert featuring James Brown. But James Brown didn't show up. I said, Bobby, I put my rent money on the line for this stuff because we got to educate the people. Before we can exploit the people, we got to educate the people about who we are, our greatness. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm putting my own money, my rent money, everything on the line to make this happen. Maybe I'm running a fool's errand, but that's how I feel because that's how much I love my people. Even though we don't love ourselves, I'm willing to put everything on the line to help us empower ourselves by knowing our roots, by watering our roots. That's what I do. So, yeah, I don't just talk on no podcast and all this stuff that some of these people doing. I ain't no joker like that. Because I do other things. This is my bloodline. I told people I was related to Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and Big Mill. I got a lot of people in my family. I'm related to revolutionaries like Julian Mayfield, the brother who was running guns. He got guns from Bumpy Johnson. Y'all look at the Godfather Harlem. My cousin used to get guns from Bumpy Johnson to bring the Robert F. Williams down to North Carolina to fight the Klan and the police. My cousin was the one who drove Robert F. Williams and his wife and family to Canada so they could get to Cuba. My cousin used to work with Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. My cousin, Julian Mayfield, Also opened his home to Malcolm X. When Malcolm used to come to Ghana, he stayed with my cousin and his wife, who was a Puerto Rican American. His wife saved the life of Maya Angelou's son when he broke his neck in Africa from a motorcycle accident. These are my people. My cousin died of a heart attack back in the 80s. He was a college professor at Howard University back in the 80s. Julian Mayfield, who worked with the Paul Robesons, who was a revolutionary playwright, actor, activist, newspaper man, storyteller. These are my people. It's in my blood to do what I'm doing. I don't need white folks' permission. The ancestors gave me the right to do what I do. So yeah, I didn't need no permission from anybody. I just know the importance of letting the elders have their say. And Judge Joe Brown was disrespected last week. And I want to give Dane Calloway the benefit of the doubt, but that's how I feel about it. I got cursed out by Dick Gregory for 6 years, but Dick Gregory respected me. He knew the power of what I did. He'll tell me things. Why you asking me that question on the air? We should have talked about this. He didn't say some of the things I said wasn't true. He just said, well, why you didn't talk to me about it? It kind of surprised me. And he go more into detail. But those conversations not on the air. So y'all gonna think what y'all want to think, but nah. Judge deserve respect. Y'all got to do research on who Judge Joe Brown is and what he done. To be that disrespectful, and a lot of you young guys are not impressive. Y'all just do a lot of tough talk. It don't look good when you threaten an elder. It don't look good when you like very feminized in your approach. You supposed to be all nuanced and logical. I never seen Malcolm X do some of the things some of you so-called enlightened and power cats did. Y'all love to put Malcolm in your mouth. Keep Malcolm out your mouth. Because you ain't serious about the business. Keep them out your mouth. So I ain't going to play this game. I'm going to just call it a night. I said what I said. Y'all like to keep up some mess. Black, that's why I don't like to deal with our people too much. I just like to deal with them when I'm coming with a plan. I could be, man, because we all kissing cousins, to be honest with you. I could be related to the herds out of Alabama. I love Alabama. The seasoning is good. The women are good. Good looking women. But thank y'all for the donation. See, somebody gave a 20 for that. Thank you, Tunnel Vision. We love you madly. I love John Coltrane. Like I tell people, John Coltrane had some jack up teeth. It's hard to find a picture with John Coltrane smiling with his teeth showing because they were so jacked up. John Coltrane, Miles Davis talked about how he was afraid when John Coltrane went to the dentist to get some teeth pulled, they would mess up his sound. But it didn't mess up his sound. But Coltrane rarely smiled with his mouth open. He didn't want to show his teeth. But I love John Coltrane. Y'all talking about fighting Masons. Actually, I had a Mayfield in my family. I'm related to Julian Mayfield and Curtis Mayfield. There was a Mayfield out in Chicago. He was a leader of the Prince Hall Mason. I don't know his name. I'm going to research their family tree. So I got some Masons in my tree. What that means, man. Y'all talk a lot of tough talk signifying nothing. Just trying to go through here. Somebody gave a 20. Thank you for the 20. Thank you for all the donations and paying attention. Yeah, y'all worry about the wrong thing. What Joe Brown eats don't make you shit, okay? So why concerned about his point of view? It's just a point of view. I'm about to close it down, fam. Thank y'all for listening. I'm about to call it a night. Thank you, sir. We love you, Mel. Thank you. One love. We love you, Maddie. You've been a long time listening. Love the support. Yeah, research will always reward truth. Thank y'all for listening. It does it for another edition of the Artivist. Thanks. I'm not gonna stay long. Judge Joe Brown gave his response. Let me see. Thank you, Kenneth Wallace, for the donation. The second. You're a second like me. We love you madly. Okay. I'm just looking. All right. So thank y'all so much for turning in. We love y'all madly. Let me read the disclaimer again if I get out of here. Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions, which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We're about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. See you, Mr. Calloway is online as well with over his 2,000 followers. And with that said, I'm gonna call it a good night. I guess I stirred up the hornet's nest. I did my job. I'm a thought provocateur. I'm just here to make you think too. So my thing is, I want to encourage Black folks, start thinking for yourself. Stop looking for some type of a Messiah. Don't mistake the mailman for the Messiah. Stop mistaking the mailman for the Messiah. We thank you all for listening so much. And tell your story. It's like what Bill Cosby told me this summer. He said, Ron, you got to tell your story. When it gets to the Hollywood level, it's too late. They're going to make you a marginal character in your own story. They're going to make you invisible. So by all means, tell your truth, stand by your truth by any means necessary you see fit. And that does it. And if you want to support Brother Herd, the Cash App is right here. $R2C2H2. You can buy artivist art. I don't put all my art online, but it's R2C2H2.com. I got some of these available in prints. Even you could, if you want to buy original, holler at me. You could also PayPal, Google Pay, and Zelle your support at r2c2h2@gmail.com. That's r2c2h2@gmail.com. You can Venmo your support at r2c2h2. I want to thank everybody that's been buying merchandise. Wear artivist art. Go below this video, below the description box. There's our shelf to our official Teespring website. So you could get some good artivist gear. So thank you all who've been supporting me, donating, buying stuff, sending words of affirmation and encouragement, even phone calls. I appreciate them. Voicemail, text, all that good stuff. Thank you all for doing what you're doing. And I'm glad to be of service to my people. But stop letting these folks manipulate your emotions. Stop being emotional triggered or manipulated by social media. Because we all are potential Manchurian candidates. We all could be MK Ultra assassins. We got to be careful. Got to be careful. Be mindful. Be respectful. Be loving and be lovable. And never give in, give up, or give out. So in the words of the immortal Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Y'all keep on producing and pushing. One love. See how it works.